In any given year, 40 million Americans will suffer from debilitating anxiety. Over the course of your lifetime, there's a 1 out of 4 chance that you'll have an anxiety disorder. That is such a staggering rate. It suggests that we've entered into a new realm. We've acclimated to a new norm, one of mass disquiet. Anxiety exists in epidemic proportions in our culture. If 40 million people fell mysteriously ill on a physical level, the Center for Disease Control would be searching for the cause and looking to find the solution. As a practicing psychotherapist, it's never made sense to me that the best we can do is try to manage this disorder, typically through medication. So I've been searching to understand why we struggle in this way. Now, I'm not talking about normal levels of stress which are typical in our lives. I feel some stress standing here right now. That's the stress of engagement, of being productive and generative and moving forward. But when stress turns into distress, it impedes, it blocks our ability to live our lives well, with joy, to be present in our relationships. So I've been searching to understand why we are entrenched in this epidemic of anxiety. Here's what I've learned. I find that primarily the cause of such anxiety is due to our relationship with our thoughts. You see, when our thoughts are constantly seeking certainty, wanting to know the future in advance, we get anxious, we get fearful. We can't know that future in advance, it's unknowable. But we still continue to search for it. It sets up the struggle to actually engage in the flow of life. Rather than experiencing life, we're trying to ward off the uncertain. This induces fear in our lives. Ask yourselves, think to yourself, what causes stress, fear, and anxiety in my life? Does it have something to do with my need to know the future? A number of years ago, I was working with a woman who came to see me around her relationship, her marriage, and her anxiety disorder. She shared with me that she was unhappily married in a loveless marriage. Her husband had refused marriage counseling, and she said they were very disconnected and conflicted. They were both financially independent, and they had no children. So I asked her, why do you continue to stay married? She shared that it was around her uncertainty about who would I be if I got divorced? What would my life be like if I were not married? I was incredulous at first because the known in her life was setting up such despair, such anguish, such depression, and such anxiety. But there it was, her need to know who she would be in the future precluded her from moving forward and kept her stagnating in life and stuck in the way she was. The need to know who would I be kept her mired in an unhappy, if not miserable, relationship. I see this phenomenon occurring on so many levels in our lives. So how did we get to be this way? How did we get stuck requiring certainty? After all, we seek uncertainty when we go to sports events, movies, read books. But in our personal lives, we try to thwart and block uncertainty. I track the cause back to the great 17th century scientist Sir Isaac Newton. Newton proposed that if we had enough information, today what we might call data, that we might reasonably predict a future event. This became known as determinism. But we took it to an extreme. It led us to slicing and dicing our options, getting us stuck in our lives. It created a fear of making the wrong move. It's almost as though we are living our lives as though we're playing a chess match, sitting back and deliberating, but afraid of making the wrong move. If you have problems making decisions, if you get stuck in moving forward in your life, you probably have an issue around your fear of uncertainty. Here's the good news. It turns out we've been living from the wrong game plan. Over the last 100 years, remarkable discoveries from the field of quantum physics have revealed that the universe, reality, is nothing like what we imagined it to be. It's not Newton's reality.